Good afternoon. We'll go ahead and call to order the regular meeting for the City of Murfreesboro Board of Zoning Appeals for February 26, 2014. Our first item on the agenda is the consideration of minutes for our regular meeting of January 29, 2014. Those minutes are included with our agenda materials. Any changes to those minutes? If not, they will stand approved as presented. At the outset here of the meeting, I wanted to announce that we had an application Z14008 by Mr. Aaron Frampton for Jacobs Engineering and New Singular Wireless concerning a telecommunications tower located at 824 Industrial Drive. That application has been withdrawn. Is that right, Matthew?
That's correct.
Okay, the application has been withdrawn, and it will not be heard today. So if you're here for that, we won't be talking about that one today.
And Chairman Rogers, that may or may not come back up at a future meeting. We don't know at this time.
Okay. All right, so we'll first consider a sign variance request. It's application S14006 by Mr. Dan Bobo of Old South Properties. And he's requesting a variance from the City of Murfreesboro sign ordinance. It prohibits a sign placed in or over a public utility or drainage easement. And this is for property located at 2207 St. Andrews Drive. And Ms. Kerr's with us. She'll review that application for us, please.
Thank you, Chairman Rogers, members of the board. The applicant, Mr. Dan Bobo, who represents Old South Properties, is requesting a variance from Section 25.25.24A22 of the City of Murfreesboro sign ordinance, which prohibits a foundation or sign placed in or over a public utility or drainage easement without the consent of the easement holders and the Board of Zoning Appeals. The sign location proposed is at 2207 St. Andrews Drive and is within a planned residential zone. The applicant is requesting permission to legally establish a freestanding wall sign which was installed approximately 5 years ago without a permit and without BZA approval. The sign is an externally illuminated sign with 18 square foot of display area and an overall height of 6 foot. The sign is located within a 10-foot Bell South, Murfreesboro Electric, Murfreesboro Water and Sewer, CUD, and United Cities gas easements. The agreement for a sign in a City of Murfreesboro easement has been signed by the Director of Building and Codes, the Murfreesboro Electric Department, Murfreesboro Water Department, and the Sewer Department, and a letter for approval for the sign placement within the easement has also been received from Consolidated Utility District, AT&T, and Atmos Energy. Currently, the sign is not within the property's recorded 20 by 20 subdivision sign easement, and as a condition of the BZA variance, the applicant must acquire a surveyor's certificate of correction for the sign easement for the recorded subdivision plat and be submitted to the Planning and Engineering Department for approval. The proposed exhibit is included in the BZA members' packets that you have. And the applicant will comply with all other setbacks and regulations, and myself and Mr. Dan Bobo from Old South are here to answer any questions that you may have.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Kerr. Questions from Ms. Kerr? All right. Thank you. Mr. Bobo, anything you'd like to add to the application?
At this time, I don't have anything to add to it. I mean, if you have any questions about the specifics of it, I'll answer the best that I can.
All right. Any questions? All right. Thank you, sir. At this time, then, we'll conduct a public hearing. Anyone present wishing to speak for or against the application, if you would, please come forward. And seeing none, we'll declare the public hearing closed and open the floor for further discussions or motion.
If there's no discussion, Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that we approve the application, subject to any staff comments.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, Mr. Bobo, that application has been approved. And we'll now consider application Z14007 by Ms. Addie Woods. She is requesting a special use permit in order to conduct a home occupation, which would be a real estate office at her residence located at 615 Johnson Street, and this property is located in a residential single-family RS8 zone. And Mr. Woods is chomping at the bit to get to it, but Mr. Blum, if you'd review that one for us, please.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Chairman Rogers. The subject property is located, as you mentioned, at 615 Johnson Street, which is located just to the south of Mercury Boulevard, south of the Patterson Park Community Center, and south of Bradley Academy. You'll see the exhibit, the aerial photo on the screens. Johnson Street, as I mentioned, just south of Mercury Boulevard. As a matter of fact, Ms. Wood's property actually backs up to Mercury Boulevard. Property is zoned RS8, single-family residential, and Ms. Woods, who currently has a real estate office at a commercial location, would like to relocate her office into her home, and a real estate office is considered a professional office, and a professional office as a home-based business is only allowed after the issuance of a special use permit. And here's an aerial photo of the property zoomed in just a little bit. You can see that Ms. Wood's driveway is about 50 feet deep by 19 feet wide, approximately, as measured on our geographic information systems. With that being said, the amount of traffic that Ms. Wood's business would generate at her home would be very minimal. She has included in her application that there would be a maximum of 10 client visits per year. So certainly with the minimal amount of traffic that will be generated, her driveway will be more than adequate to handle the amount, that small amount of traffic. The applicant does not propose to have any outside employees or colleagues working from her home, although she does have 2 colleagues who work out of their own homes in Nashville. The work that will be conducted primarily at the residence will be just general office work, and most of her meetings with clients will take place off-site at other facilities, including her clients' homes and meeting facilities and whatnot. The area of the house devoted to the home occupation will not exceed the maximum allowed 25%. The applicant proposes to use 120 square foot room for her office, which is less than 9% of the square footage of her home. And only traditional office equipment will be used in the conduct of the home occupation, such as a computer and a fax machine. And according to the applicant, there will be no outdoor storage in conjunction with her home-based business. She's verbally indicated that her for sale signs will be stored in a storage room inside of her house. Now, signage associated with a home-based business is only allowed upon approval by the Board of Zoning Appeals. And as you know, the Board of Zoning Appeals has the authority to grant a maximum 3 square foot attached sign. And the Tennessee Real Estate Commission requires the following with regards to real estate offices. And this is taken from their rules, which I found online. Each licensed real estate firm shall conspicuously display on the outside of the firm's place of business a sign which contains the name of the real estate firm as registered with the commission. The applicant has indicated to staff that she wishes to have a sign not to exceed a normal letter-sized piece of paper, 8.5 by 11 inches, near her front door, and she has submitted a photograph of the current sign at her office, which you can see on the screens on the screen right now. And she wishes to relocate this sign at her front door. She indicates in her write-up that the sign can be placed inside a window, attached to the home, or placed along the sidewalk. While the first 2 options are acceptable, the third option along the sidewalk is not, because the sign must be attached to the home per the zoning ordinance, and the applicant has been made aware of this, and she understands. I have some photographs of the subject property to show you and of the surrounding neighborhood. Here is a picture of the front of Ms. Wood's house and the driveway which I referenced earlier. This is the adjacent property to the west and the adjacent property to the east. And now several photographs of property across Johnson Street. And then to the rear of the property, looking across Mercury Boulevard, to the Housing Authority property, to Patterson Park, and to Bradley Academy. With that being said, I'll be happy to answer any questions that the board may have, and Ms. Woods is here if you have any questions for her.
All right, thank you, Mr. Bomley. Questions for Mr. Bomley? Matthew, mine is just, I thought some of these could be administratively approved. Is this not one that could have been administered?
It cannot be administratively approved for 3 reasons. First, because she is proposing to have traffic coming to and from the home, even albeit a very small amount of traffic, we cannot approve it administratively. Second, because the Real Estate Commission does require a sign, that's not something that we can approve administratively. The only way that someone can have a sign with a home-based business is with approval from the Board of Zoning Appeals. And thirdly, because it's considered a professional office, and a professional office like an engineer, a real estate broker, or an attorney, if one of those professions which is required to be licensed by the state is proposing to be located inside of a home, we classify that as a professional office, and our zoning ordinance does not allow professional offices to be approved administratively. Those are required to obtain a special use permit from the Board of Zoning Appeals.
Okay. All right. Any other questions? All right, Ms. Woods, anything you'd like to add to the application?
And of course, the says.
Okay. All right. Any questions for Ms. Woods? Going to let you off easy today.
Oh, okay.
Thank you. All right, at this time, then, we'll conduct a public hearing. Anyone present wishing to speak for or against the application, if you would, please come forward. And seeing none, we'll declare the public hearing closed and open the floor for further discussion or motion. And is this, Matthew, just as far as special use permits go, one that would, I think we've traditionally included as part of the application that it would lapse upon transfer of the property?
Yeah, we have done that in the past, and I think, as a matter of fact, the home-based business, both of the home-based businesses that we had at last month's meeting had that condition as well.
Okay.
If no further questions, I'll make a motion to approve the special use permit.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Can we discuss including the condition that it lapses on transfer of property?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Please do include that. I thought you said it was already included.
No, but that's definitely an option that y'all have
Oh,
to
okay.
use.
Okay.
And I second that.
And a second. Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that application has been approved. It's good to see you again. Eddie is a former BZA member. When did you leave the board? 2008. Time flies. All right. Well, good luck with the real estate. All right. Bye-bye. All right. That was our final application. Okay. David Ives looks like he's wanting to say something.
I have one matter I'd want to mention briefly. A few weeks ago, we received a request for adding a co-location antenna on an existing cell tower. And the application included some references to fairly recently passed federal statutes and interpretations that have come out from the FCC. Based on that, staff determined that this was a matter that should be approved by the staff, and it was, and that they're in the process now of going through the construction of this. That, along with the recent publicity about a cell tower application being turned down at the county BZA, has prompted us to want to put together some, hopefully brief legal memorandum about the both concerning applications for new tower permits as well as the applications for co-locations or additional antenna on existing towers. So I just wanted to let you know that that is in the works, because we would have had a portion of that at least to you yesterday, but with the application that was on for today coming off of the agenda, we'll work on that some more, and we'll get that to you ahead of time for your review, be able to have some discussion, hopefully at the next meeting.
Okay. Sounds good. All right. Well, is there any other business? If not, we're adjourned.